Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are making our own sourdough starter. This usually takes about 7 days before the starter is matured for us to use it. We only need two things to make sourdough starter, in case if you didn't want to buy your own, and it's really not that difficult to make. So the two things you need are filtered water and whole wheat flour, rye flour or all-purpose flour. But we'll get back to that. Most times it's always good to use whole wheat because it has more nutrients in order to feed the yeast within the starter. If you're going to use all-purpose flour, make sure that it's an unbleached flour because anything bleached will kill the natural yeast. And we're using filtered water because we don't want chlorinated water. But if you don't have any filtered water and you don't have any bottled water in your house, what you can do is to get some tap water if you live in an urban area and just allow it to sit out for about 24 hours to allow the chlorine to evaporate. This is really straightforward. It just takes a little bit of time. And so here I have half a cup of whole wheat flour and half a cup of filtered water. The best way to do this is equal part 1-to-1 flour and water. That's it. So we are going to just put this half cup of whole wheat flour in this mason jar. And then the next thing we want to do is to add this half cup of filtered water in here. And all we do is mix. We just stir it together. You want to mix it well. Make sure there is no dry flour. So you want to scrape the sides. Make sure that all the flour is combined. So once you have gotten all that, one thing you want to do is to mark where your line is. And this is going to be important just to see where the line is. And then what we want to do is to cover it. You don't want to tighten this because you want an airflow into this, and just cover it. If you don't have a cover, what you could do is to use a coffee filter with a rubber band. You just want some sort of airflow going on with this. We're just going to let this hang out for about 24 hours. After 24 hours, we're going to check on it and see whether or not we need to feed it, whether anything is going on, whether there's some bubble. You want to keep this in a warm, dark area of your kitchen, or you can leave it on a countertop. Now, bear in mind that depending on the temperature of your house, if it is winter, this is going to take much longer to ferment. And if it is summer, it's probably going to be much quicker. You may see bubbles more readily. So this is our day 1 of our sourdough starter. We will come back tomorrow to see what's going on. Today is day 2 of our sourdough starter. And look at that. Look at the separation. This was our mark from yesterday. This thing is really fermented. She is looking good. A little bit of sour taste, a little bit of sour smell. It has some bubbles in it. So now what we're going to do is to remove almost half of it and feed it again, because it looks like it is really hungry. It looks like it also has a little bit of hooch, which is the liquid which tells you that it is done fermenting. I'm taking quite a lot out. What we're going to do next is to add another half a cup of whole wheat flour and half a cup of filtered water. I mean, not even add all of it. I'm just going to mix. And you want to mix it really well, making sure that it combines with yesterday's mixture. Then we're going to cover lightly, just placing this right on top. And we're going to set it aside for another 24 hours. And we'll come back tomorrow to see what's going on. We're going to discard this. Or you can always use the discard to start a whole new starter to give away. Today is day 3, and you can see the hooch, which is the liquid between the top layer and the bottom layer. And we are going to remove half of this. And this has a lot of bubbles because the weather is warm. So this is moving along really, really well. I'm thinking that this could be ready to be used like in 5 5 days. It's really coming along really well. But we'll see. Now we're gonna remove half of it and feed it. So now I'm gonna add half a cup of whole wheat flour and half a cup of water. This is filtered water. At this point, you could give it all-purpose flour as long as it's unbleached or rye. But I only have whole wheat, so that's why I'm giving it whole wheat. And like I said, you don't want to give it bleached flour. So I'm adding the water slowly because I do not want to add all at once, because this is getting to that doubling size in less than 24 hours. So trying to do less water, making it thicker so that it will take longer. What the whole reason for me adding the water slowly. As long as you ensure that there are no dry flour. Anyway, getting all the corners and mixing it real well. All right, we're done. Again, we are going to, this is where the mark is. We're going to see what happens by tomorrow. We're going to keep it in our pantry for 24 hours. Today is day 4 of our sourdough starter. So you can see there's really a lot of hooch on this sourdough. Has a lot of liquid. So what we're going to do is, well, let me get it up and close. Look at all that liquid in there. That's what you call a hooch. So this means it is done. It needs to be fed. Again, we have half a cup of whole wheat flour and half a cup of water. We're going to remove a lot of this, and what we're going to do is to save it because we're going to use it to make some pancake. And I'm removing quite a lot. I remove a lot because I really don't want this to overflow eventually. I'm scraping the walls of the container. Now I'm going to add the half cup of whole wheat flour. Then the half cup of water. I'm going to stir it all together, ensuring that it is well mixed. I'm scraping off the spatula on the sides, ensuring that everything's well incorporated. It is important to scrape up everything so that you don't end up having any mold. So now we are going to place this in our pantry for another 24 hours. We are going to save our discards in the refrigerator for pancake. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll see what has developed. This is day 4 of making of sourdough starter. Today is day 5 of our sourdough starter mix. So, still smells good. So today we're going to do something different. We are going to do the 1-3-3 method, which means we are going to leave like a quarter of the sourdough mixture. Then we're going to add 3/4 of flour and 3/4 of water, and we'll mix together. Okay? And we have been keeping our discard for other things. So today we are going to just feed it. I'm going to clean up the edges. And so what I'm doing is just wetting. I wet the kitchen towel with filtered water just to clean the edges so it doesn't look tacky. And then I scrape down the edges. Then we're going to add 1/2 plus 1/4. That's 3 1/4. And this is 3 1/4 cup of water. Making sure that everything is mixed properly. If you feel like your mixture is not having enough bubbles, don't despair. Just keep going. Keep feeding it each day. It will eventually do what it's supposed to do. Make sure you get all the corners, all the edges. And I use a second spatula and I scrape down everything. Then I'm going to scrape it all down. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do something a little different. Instead of covering it with the marrow, I'm going to cover it with a cheesecloth to allow more airflow. You can cover with coffee filter papers. All right, so now let's cover it and put the ring on. And put this back in the pantry for another 24 hours. Welcome back to day 6 of sourdough starter. And look at that. This is more than double. We started somewhere here and look at where we are now, and more than double. We're going to take a look. Oh boy, you need to see the bubbles in here. Now let me show you up close. Look at that up close. This is a lot of foam inside. Look at that line and look at how much it has risen. Okay, so now I have a new jar here. I'm going to mix this up. We're still doing the 1-3-3 method. This is almost ready. So we're gonna take a quarter and we're going to save this for sourdough discard recipe. Now I'm gonna add the 3/4 cup of flour and then 3/4 cup water. I changed the jar because I really did not want any extra contamination. Be sure to mix all of this thoroughly. Okay, so here we are. We are going to mark this as where we started. Now we're going to cover it and tighten this. We are going to put this in the pantry. I will check it tomorrow to see how it's doing for day 7. And we are going to save this and put it in the refrigerator. So come back tomorrow and we'll see where we are. All right, so today is our day 7 of our sourdough starter. And earlier on, we looked at this. This rose all the way up here, which more than doubles, but it has fallen. I allowed it to fall because I'm still doing the 24-hour feed. And I'm telling you, this thing smells so good. Almost like you can eat it. You can really taste it to see how sour it tastes. It tastes so good. It tastes like sourdough and it smells like it. So now we are going to feed our sourdough. I mean, if you want, you can actually do a float test to see whether if it is ready, and you can see it is floating. So we can actually use this sourdough starter to bake. So, but it has fallen and you actually want to use it just at the peak to leaven your bread. So right now I am going to take out some of this and refeed it. And then I'm not discarding any of this. I am keeping it for sourdough discard recipes. An interesting thing about sourdough is that if you know that you're going to use it to bake bread, you may not want to discard as much. And this can be a way for you to actually have less discard. Feed it less until when you feel like it's ready. Then you can give it more feed so that it can grow more. And then when you take what you need for your bread, you will get back down to smaller amount of it. So what I'm going to do now is to add 3/4 cup of wheat flour. This is a 1/4 cup each, and that's 3. And what we have here is 3/4 cup filtered water. And then we mix thoroughly. Again, be sure to get all the corners where you could have pockets of flour, dry flour. You want to mix it. I feed mine once a day because I go to work, and if you have the time to do 12-hour feeds, that is great, depending on how active your sourdough starter is. Now we're going to cover this. We'll see if it is ready to be used tomorrow. So today is the 8th day, and our sourdough starter has matured. We can use it. Oh my God, it smells so good. It has lots and lots of bubbles, and we can use this to make our sourdough bread. We tested it. It floated well in a cup of water. We are going to make some sourdough bread today. But anyhow, we're going to now cover this and keep it in the refrigerator. And if anytime we want to use it, we can feed it a few hours before and then use it. And this is how you make sourdough starter. Now, if this video has been of value to you, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that we can notify you when we upload new videos. This is Dr. Okeke. Thank you and God bless.